You're watching The Bat.
I'm Chief Strazzo of the Brunswick Hills Township Fire Department. Our members would like to invite you and your family to our annual bonfire on October 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Plum Creek Park. Our members will be having a bonfire, hay rides, popcorn, snacks, and a pumpkin carving contest. We hope to see you there.
Welcome to this month's Salutes to Service, and with me this month I have Mr. Marvin Stevens. How you doing, Marvin? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And Marvin is a U.S. Air Force veteran, correct?
Correct.
And where are you from, Marvin? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I was raised in North Homestead, Ohio, and I graduated from North Homestead High School, and then I enlisted in the Air Force.
How'd you get out here to Medina?
From my work, I was transferred to Wadsworth.
Wadsworth?
Yeah.
So you enlisted in the Air Force right out of high school?
Yes.
And why the Air Force?
I like flying, and I always thought maybe I'd get involved with something that had to do with aircraft.
So what year did you go in the Air Force?
1966.
So height of the Vietnam War is going on and everything else, right?
Right.
No apprehensions or anything like that? You know, there's a war, I'll wait till they call me, I want to go enlist?
I didn't even know there was a war going on.
The internet wasn't around back then, right?
No, I got orders to go to Iowa And then I was getting tired of being in Iowa, and I kept wanting to get orders, and I finally got orders for Tan Son Nhut, Vietnam, and I'm jumping for joy. And
just to get out of Iowa,
yeah,
right?
And a guy said, "What are you jumping for?" I said, "I got orders to get out of here." I said, "I'm going to Tan Son Nhut, Vietnam." And he said, "Are you nuts? There's a war going on." I said, "Are you kidding me?"
Wow.
I didn't know
Well,
that.
it's still better than Iowa, though, I assume, right?
Well, I don't know about that.
So what did you do in the Air Force?
I was air traffic control.
Air traffic control. So
Yeah.
you basically told planes where to go, land, all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
when you went over to Vietnam, I mean, once you found out there was a war going on, how'd you feel about that?
Scared crapless.
Yeah. So you were with actually an Army unit when you went over there, correct?
Well, I was with the 834th Air Division.
Okay.
And under 7th Air Force. And I was actually in charge of all airlift in and out of country. And we actually got a unit citation for having the most airlift in and out of country ever. And then I got sent TDY to the 82nd Airborne and the 101st Airborne as ground air controller.
So that's a little bit different, right? Is that like calling in bombs or anything like that?
It's calling in aircraft to basically strive the enemy, and I called in Agent Orange Strike.
So that's a little bit different than sitting back on the airbase, landing planes. You're out with the actual grunts at that
Right.
point.
Yeah.
So now you know there's a war going on at that point, right?
Definitely.
So what's going through your mind when you're out there beating the bush with those guys? I mean, that's a little
I said I joined the Air Force. I didn't join the Army.
pretty good guys, though. I would imagine a bunch of paratroopers.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
so-
yeah. I didn't get paid anymore, but
No. So how long were you over in Vietnam?
about 14 months.
What did you think of it?
I was told to go there.
18 years old, 19 years old, right?
19.
Yeah. It's pretty young to be put in a situation like that. For a lot of
Yeah.
guys. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's no different today.
Well, back then we followed orders.
Right. So what, I mean, any significant events or anything like that over there that stands out in your mind still that, you know, I mean, do you want to talk about?
There was a gentleman, I didn't even know him at the time, but after that we became very close friends. We were in a foxhole when Viet Cong come running up, ready to stick his bayonet in me, and I kind of froze, and Cookie shot him. And that's what we called him, Cookie. And from that point on, we were close friends because he saved my life. If he hadn't have shot him, I'd have been dead.
Yeah. Well, that is something
So-
to remember. So you still in touch with him, or?
I used to be, and I lost touch with him a few years ago.
Yeah. So when you were getting ready to come home, I mean, when you finally, you know, I mean, you get shorter and shorter, and you finally know you're leaving there. How do you start to feel at that point?
Excited. There was kind of a ruling there where you had to drink a fifth vodka, and it had a blue ribbon around it, and you had to do that within 24 hours to wear that blue ribbon, which
really?
was a short time ribbon.
Oh.
So everybody knew you had less than 30 days.
So everybody starts to take care of you,
Yeah,
leave you alone a little
yeah,
bit when you're a short
right.
timer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you came back, how much more time did you have in the Air Force, and where did you come back to?
Well, I landed in San Francisco and got off the plane, got down, kissed the ground, stood up, and got plummeted with tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah.
At the airport?
Yeah, because back then, the college kids and everybody was against the war.
Yeah. And San Francisco wasn't the best place to be back then.
No,
Yeah.
no. And the government was hiring private planes to bring us over there and back. And then I got orders for Smyrna, Tennessee.
Where's that at?
It's outside of Nashville.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I served about a year there, and they closed the base down and had a unit moved to Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas. And then I served about a year there, and I was getting discharged, and I heard they were closing that base down. So every base that I was stationed at, they ended up closing down. I don't know if it had anything to do with me or what.
So let me ask you something, because everybody always talks about, you know, when most of the guys came back, it seemed like they flew through California, and there was a lot of issues out there with the war. When you got out of California and you got down to Little Rock or something like that, did you see the same, I guess, you know, treatment of military about the war as you did in California?
No.
Yeah, there's like pockets of it, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know a lot of guys say, well, they told us not to wear a uniform, but then when I got back to South Carolina, you know, I wore my uniform and nobody bothered me. You know,
Right.
It was kind of like, just California wasn't the place to be. There was a lot of demonstrations and stuff going on out there. Well, that's good that, you know, I mean, because it wasn't everybody, I think, everywhere that was against everybody. You know,
every place else that I went to was they were very friendly. Very nice.
So you were an air traffic controller in the service, and then you got out. Were you married when you got out, or are you still single? Or?
I was married, and I had one child at the time.
So did you get married before you went to Vietnam, or after you
I
got
got
home?
married after I got home.
After you got home? High school sweetheart, or just somebody you met?
No, somebody I met when I was in Tennessee.
So when you got out, did you pursue a career in air traffic control or aviation?
No, I actually went into insurance and financial services. It interested me.
Well, that's kind of a numbers game too, same
Yeah,
thing with air traffic
yeah.
control. So, well, you're in the service though, you know, going back, I mean, how difficult was it to get out, to make that decision to get out? Was it easy, or did you plan on getting out, or did you?
I thought about staying in, and I have a twin brother, and he was getting out.
Right. Was he in the Air Force too? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought, well, if he's getting out, then they'll definitely send me back to Vietnam.
Right.
So I'm getting out too then.
Yeah, good choice. Yeah, that's probably a good choice. So how many years did you do total?
4.
4 years? So how did you get back to, you were originally in Olmsted, how did you get back to Ohio? You just came back here after the service? Or?
Yeah, after I got discharged, came back to Ohio.
And went into insurance and financial
in financial planning. Right.
So you're currently a member of how many organizations? I know you're the commander of the Disabled American Veterans here in Medina.
And I'm a member of the American Legion and the Honor Guard, member of, geez, I'm trying to think of all of them.
VVA, Vietnam Veterans
yeah,
America.
Vietnam Veterans of America, the,
So
help me out. All of them, actually.
So I know you were a big part of this. You know, we did this 50th commemoration this year
Right.
for the Vietnam veterans, and you were down in Wadsworth for the coming home and welcome home and the wall and all that stuff. How do you feel as a Vietnam vet? How do you feel about things like that?
I think people need to be made more aware of it. The Vietnam vets, when we came back, we weren't treated well because people thought we wanted to be there, and we didn't. The veterans today are being treated very well, in which they should be, and I'm glad to see that. So by us doing those things and bringing the traveling wall and so forth, I think it makes people more aware of what was transpiring back then.
You think, I mean, there's a couple generations now, I mean, since the Vietnam War, and younger folks come out, and it's a learning process. And then for, obviously, the Vietnam veterans, there's some healing going on. But do you think the people that were maybe against the war or against the Vietnam veteran feel a little remorse or a little guilty sometimes?
I think some of them
Yeah.
do, yes.
Yeah, I think they realize it was wrong. I mean,
Right.
and I tell you, the vets today are treated because of what you guys did. I mean, we're treated well because of how you guys came back and took it and changed the world and how, you know, the country views our veterans today. I mean, I think that's huge. What do you see when you see the wall? I mean, what's in your mind when you see that wall with those 50,000 plus names?
I see people that I knew not ever coming back. I see people that I didn't know not ever coming back. I see people that fought for freedom for people, and I see whenever I look at that wall, I see things that a lot of people don't see,
Mm-hmm.
which is why people today express themselves in ways that I don't think shows honor and respect.
Yeah. I think the wall, you know, there's a lot of memorials out there. You know, you go to the World War II memorial and there's, you know, 100,000, it's got the number up there, 100,000, you know, people that perished and stuff like that. But when you look at the wall, it's got the names and it becomes very personal, whether you know somebody or not. When you read those names up there, they're people, and you realize it's not just a number. I mean,
Right.
it's not, there's 10,000, 3,000 killed here. It is, you know, John Doe. It is, you know, whatever the name is up there, and it becomes personal because you start to see names that maybe you don't know, but they're names that are familiar because maybe you know somebody
Right.
else, and it becomes human for you. You know, I think the wall is, whether it's the traveling wall or whether the real wall. Actually, I think the traveling wall in some aspects is a little more personal because you can actually go there. Sometimes there's less people. I know when we had it, there was a lot of folks that showed up in the middle of the night because they
Right.
wanted to be alone with it. And so you get that personal approach and that personal time with it. I want to, you know, I want to thank you guys for, we got a lot of support from the DAV and the VVA and all those other groups when we brought that here, and that was great. So why is it important for you to belong to a veterans organization?
Well, first of all, the organization helps us as individuals. And I think we should belong also because we need to help the organization. It's just like I'm 100% service-connected disability, but the organization helped me to be able to complete the paperwork, and so did your organization.
Right.
So that's why I think it's important to be able to join the organizations, plus for camaraderie.
Right. Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of guys and gals, they don't realize that, you know, there's the post and there's the community effort that, you know, you guys do, and, you know, selling the poppies and supporting different events. But there is also that, you know, higher portion of the organizations that fight for us in Congress and help us get
Right.
benefits and help us file claims and all that stuff, that sometimes I don't think people realize that, that there's a couple different levels of it. What are some of the events that the DAV does?
We do Tank the Truck. We're doing, today and tomorrow, we're doing
The Forget Me Not Drive.
Forget Me Not Drive, yeah. I have a short memory.
Oh. Well, I mean, I know you guys do the Christmas in June cards for people, where you give out Walmart cards. The Tank the Truck is huge. And by the way, Tank the Truck is coming up. We're going to start collecting for that. Soaps, laundry detergent is our main focus. and any kind of sundries. We'll collect out of my office, 210 Northland Drive, starting in November. If you want to drop something off or make a donation, Tank the Truck, we fill the Army truck, and it goes to Feeding Medina County, and it helps veterans and non-veterans, and we give them laundry detergent and sundries and everything around Christmas time. So it's been a huge effort we've been doing. I think this is probably our 6th or 7th year that our office and the Disabled American Veterans have compiled this together and collaborated to do this. So if anybody's interested, stop by the office and drop off a bottle of laundry detergent, whatever your favorite scent is, I guess. Well, we do a lot. Now the Vietnam Veterans of America, a whole different group. They're focused on Vietnam veterans and some other things. So, I mean, what's the difference in some of the groups? Is there a big difference in them, or are they all kind of, maybe, I know they all got their own little niche as far as what the eligibility is.
Well, with the Vietnam Veterans of America, actually, they're the only organization that will die out when the last Vietnam veteran dies.
Right.
Because there actually isn't going to be anybody else at that point. Where all the other organizations will continue
on.
Right, because they have different members. But the VFW, American Legion, DAV, we all do similar things, really.
Right. This is a community effort. I mean, you guys, and it's not just veterans that you help. I mean, you guys focus on all sorts of things. You know, the Memorial Day parade, and like Tank the Truck helps non-veterans too. I mean, you guys are really a community action kind of group out there. I don't think a lot of people realize how much you guys do. And you don't have a lot of money either. I mean, you raise a little bit of money and you give it back to the community.
Right.
So any last words, if you had someone that was going to join the military today, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that it's their honor to serve their country. And they should respect the military. They should love their country.
What'd you learn in the military that you carried into your civilian world?
Respect other people, honor, and probably most of all, I learned that you can't take anything for granted, and that there's always a consequence for every action that you do.
That's a good point. So if you had to do it all over again, would you do it again?
Yes.
Yep. That's what I ask everybody. You know, everybody says yes. I want to thank Marvin Stevens, Medina County resident, United States Air Force Vietnam veteran, for coming by today. Thanks, Marvin. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning. Why?
Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this.
You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately.
That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
I'm Chief Strazzo of the Brunswick Hills Township Fire Department. Our members would like to invite you and your family to our annual bonfire on October 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Plum Creek Park. Our members will be having a bonfire, hay rides, popcorn, snacks, and a pumpkin carving contest. We hope to see you there.
Hi, I'm Ed Zachary with Medina County Veterans Service Office. And if you're a veteran and you're in a crisis, or worse yet, contemplating suicide, I want you to pick up the phone and call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. Do it now.